Hey everyone! Are you ready for some GBG streaming? Or some Goose blasting? If so, you've come to the right place. Welcome everybody. It's great to see you all. I see lots of cool people in chat already. I see Dom, Mr. Video Dojo himself. I see DRN Makes. Chilpa Joe just dropping in to say, hi, I gotta study and take a test. Good luck with your test. Hope you can join us soon. Alright, let me put on some tunes for you. Hey, so, I should have fixed the issue from Monday. Yeah, it's goose blasting season. Those geese won't stand a chance, let me tell you. I should have fixed the audio issues from Monday, where the sound of the game would play twice. That should be all sorted out. I think we're ready to do some good old-fashioned GBG action. My battle station is ready. My high-tech water intake device is primed for maximum hydration. And I've got my NoteOn shaving pants on. So on Monday we actually did a lot of progress, but I decided to start from scratch because my code was very messy and I found myself unable to just clean it up without causing bugs in the process. So I figured, why not just start from scratch, build a healthy foundation that the game can grow on. So that's what I'm gonna do. You know, I learned a lot yesterday, and hopefully that will come in handy on this stream. So, just as a recap, for those who couldn't be there on Monday, who need to catch up, I want to recreate Duck Hunt in GBG. So Duck Hunt, classic NES game, a light gun game in which you have to shoot ducks. And I thought it would be a nice challenge to recreate it in GBG. I think it's a cool game that fits the limitations of Game Builder Garage pretty well. So let's hope it will go nice and smoothly. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create the actual ducks, or well, I would say geese, because we are making Project Goose. So the bird it's just gonna be a UFO, you know, lots of control over it. And the way I'm gonna handle it is I'm going to program a bunch of stages. So, or should I say modes, because the duck can be in 3 different modes. There will be a flight mode, which is going to trigger whenever the duck spawns, and that just means it's going to fly around the screen, bounce around the edges of it, and wait to be shot. If it is shot, it will go into shot mode and it will just plummet downwards. But if you can't land a hit, it will fly upwards. That will be miss mode. So basically I'm just gonna code all of these and I'm gonna add the logic to switch between all of those different modes. So that should be pretty interesting. Alright, so let's start with our flight mode. And before I start doing a bunch of logic, I'm actually gonna have a little play field for us. So I'm gonna move this out of the way and make a game screen, which I'm going to resize to be 9.6 meters on X and 5.4 meters on Y. So that's a nice size, I think. I'm also gonna remove the ground, so I'm gonna call in a world node on, set the world shape to none. That way we just have a blank sky. That's gonna make it so much easier to work with our game. Okay, along with the game screen, I'm also going to add the screen edges, because the the bird is able to interact with the edges of the screen, and the easiest way to do that will be to use a bunch of touch sensors that can detect our UFO. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to set them to on touch because I only want to trigger something the instant it comes into contact with our UFO object. I'm just going to resize them to fit the screen, like so. And I'm just going to make a frame out of these. Simple frame. By the way, how's everybody doing? Hope you're having a nice Wednesday. It's pretty warm outside. Maybe I should be enjoying the sun, but instead I'm locked inside my room playing video games online, which is basically living the dream. Your make is good. That's awesome to hear. Okay, so we've got our frame. Now we can do some epic logic. So the way I'm going to do it, I will bring up a texture so I can just draw and explain. So the system we came up with yesterday was as follows. So our duck will react to, I guess, 3 switches essentially that we can flip, and those switches will control the flight direction of our duck. So our first switch will be an angle switch, and that will decide whether our duck is flying at a high angle of 45 degrees or at a low angle of 22.5 degrees. And then we have a horizontal switch, which will change the bird's direction horizontally. So that will make it so right now, when this switch is off, the bird will fly northeast. But if we flip the switch, it will fly northwest instead. We also have a vertical switch, and that will flip the bird's direction vertically. So instead of flying northeast when it's not enabled, if it's enabled, it will fly southeast instead. And if both switches are flipped, then it's flying southwest. So that gives us 8 direction our bird is flying in, depending on which combination of switch is active. And that should give us some nice kind of complex flight patterns, kind of unpredictable, and that should make it more fun to try and aim to land a hit. So with that out of the way, I'm going to create our switches. So it's gonna be pretty simple. I'm just gonna use flags, or maybe actually not flags. I should use counters for this, because the thing with counters, if you set it to bounce and you change the range to 0 and 1, then I only need a single input. I don't need to mess with turning the flag on or off. I just have to worry about flipping a switch. So that should make it a bit cleaner handling the connections. You sound like my dream programming teacher, says DRN Makes. I'm glad. I hope I can make this entertaining for everyone. By the way, sorry if I missed chat. I have to manage. I'm not good at managing multiple things at once. I missed a message from Dom saying curtain drawn, illuminated by the glow of the programming screen. If I had curtains, that would be very accurate. Unfortunately, I have to deal with sunlight, which is tragic, but I'll manage. So we have our bouncing counter, so basically our toggle switch. And so the way it works is if I make a button here, I can press A, I can plug it into the counter, and when I press A, it will just flip back and forth between 0 and 1. So it's like a toggle. Whereas if I had a flag, I would need 2 different inputs to turn it on or off. I can't just take my button and just do that. That will not work. I would need to have a completely different input NoteOn plugged into this. So I'm gonna stick with our counter for now. It still works the same because everything in GBG is numbers. So that should work out for us. I'm not gonna stick with the A button, or maybe I will just to test it out to see if it works. So since I'm doing, I want to invert something. That means making positive stuff negative and negative stuff positive. And one of the ways we can do that is multiplying whatever input we want to change by 1, which will keep it the same, or -1, which will invert it. So it's kind of like having a plus or minus inversion, except we can turn it on or off. So that's going to be very useful for what we want to do. So I'm going to create a map, and so 0 is our switch turned off, so we don't want to change, and 1 is our flag turned on and we want to change. So I'm going to set the output range to -1, 1, and I'm going to click this button to map the values in reverse. So when it's 0, it's going to get remapped to 1, so it's not going to change any direction. And when it's 1, it will turn it to -1, so it will invert our direction. So we've got that going on. We need 2 of those because we want to switch both the horizontal and vertical directions. And now we're gonna do the angle switching that I mentioned. And for that, I'm gonna use a random NoteOn because that's the part that I want to be consistently random. The horizontal and negative switching, horizontal and vertical switching, sorry, I want it to be conditional. So for example, when the bird will bump into this wall right here, I always want to change the horizontal direction. So using randomness in this situation wouldn't make sense. However, I do want the angle to change, so all the time. So I don't want to only change the angle at specific moments. The way I see it, it's always going to be random. So that's why I'm using this guy right here. Timing unchanged from 0, don't need that. And since we only have 2 directions to choose from, I'm going to keep the output range at 2. And now I can start doing some comparisons. So if you remember what I said earlier, the angle will be either 45 degrees or 22.5 degrees. So we need 2 comparisons. So first I'm going to compare the random output with 1, and I'm going to compare the random output with 2, because these are the 2 numbers the NoteOn will output. And with that, we basically have a system. I'm gonna put a marker just so we can see, like so. I'm gonna take this, and whenever I press A, it will, light up one of these markers at random. So now we can decide between 2 different things on a random chance, which is exactly what we want. Now, these will only output either 0 or 1, depending on whether that comparison is true. So to turn it into an angle, we need to remap it again. So for this one, it's going to be a map from 0 to 45, like so. We can plug it in. And for this one, it's going to be 22.5. There we go. And now, to turn it into a... Oh, hold on. Let me just read chat. Let me just catch up with chat. Darren Makes asks, why are you a bunny? Your name is Voxy. Aren't you supposed to be a fox? It's not really related to foxes or anything. I just really like bunnies. I think bunnies are cute. That's basically the only reason. Dom says my mic is speaking. Let me see if I can fix that real quick. I'm just gonna turn my mic volume down. Hopefully it will solve it. Let me know if it does. Or maybe the gain. I don't really know how to change the gain though. Alright, bear with me for a second. I'm gonna try to solve that issue. How do I even do that? I don't see any like gain settings, which is strange. I'm just gonna turn it down a bit and hopefully it will fix it. Dr. Zoom asks, what are we doing today? We are making a duck hunt game. So right now I'm working on how the bird is flying. It's lagging, says the RMX. What do you mean? What do you mean it's lagging? I'm not doing anything in GBG, so nothing is happening. That might be what's going on. If it's buffering, I'm not sure what I could be doing about that. Sorry. Hi Funkito, Monkito. It might be at a system level. I can talk to you through it after the stream if you like. Yeah, that'd be great, Dom. Thanks for your help. You are my streaming mentor after all. Okay, so this system right here, we have our angle switcher. No lag. Okay, good. That's reassuring. But, you know, we just have angles, right? 45 degrees, 22.5 degrees. That's not something we can use. We need to turn it into X and Y components. That way we can give it to our UFO and it will move at this specific angle. So the easiest way to do that is to use the amazing angled position NoteOn, which I think at this point might be my GBG BFF. It's so useful for a lot of things. Now you're clear, bro, says them. Thank you. I'm very glad to hear it. So I'm just gonna plug my angles into the angled position, and that will turn those into X and Y coordinates, which I should already be able to send into the UFO. So if I go ahead and do that, and I send my UFO inside my game screen, when I press A, it will start flying at an angle, and if I press it multiple times, that angle will change. So we already have our first switch basically implemented, which is awesome. DRMake says, I still don't understand that NoteOn. It's basically trigonometry. I'm gonna try to explain it real quick, if that's okay with everyone else. Let's bring up a texture. So basically what it does is, you can imagine having a circle like this one, and what it's gonna do is it's gonna take the angle you're giving it, and it's basically gonna trace it as a line starting from the center of that circle, following the angle you give it. So if I give it an angle of 45 degrees, it's gonna create a 45-degree line. And so you can imagine having two axes, the horizontal axis and the vertical axis, and those axes have coordinates. So this, for example, would be 1, this would be 0, and vertically it would be 0 and would be 1. It's kind of like a graph, basically. And so our line, the NoteOn will take the point that hits the edge of the circle, and it will check its position on this axis right here, and it will check its position on this axis right here. So in math terms, it's basically going to calculate the sine and cosine of that angle, and it's going to return it as a number. And that's super useful when you want to have things either moving along a specific angle or even just moving along a circle. Alright, so enough boring math. Let's just go back into our code. So we got our two switches here, the vertical switch and the horizontal switch. So what I want to do is, Chilper Joe says, came to check in before my test and I think I walk into you teaching a math class. Basically, just explaining how the angled position NoteOn works. Hopefully my explanation was clear enough. So as I've said before, when we're doing this, 1 minus 1 stuff, I want to multiply our horizontal and vertical direction by those. That way when it's multiplied by -1, it will be inverted, but when it's multiplied by just 1, positive 1, it will not change. So I'm gonna multiply these together, and I'm gonna do the same for the vertical direction. So we have a nice little NoteOn tree going on. Should be a lot cleaner than whatever I made on Monday. And now I want to add the final piece of the puzzle, a flag, which is going to multiply those inputs again. So what I want to do is I want to multiply both of these results by our flag. And what that is doing is it's basically like having a global switch. So I have all of this going on, but with this flag, by multiplying the result of the flag by those, it's basically like having a switch for everything. So if the flag is off, both of these outputs will be 0, so they will be nullified. But when that flag is on, then it will be, whatever the result of this is. So with this flag, I can just turn on or off the flight whenever I want, which will be useful when we get into the other modes, because those will force the bird to fly in a very specific way that does not correspond to any of this. So that's why I'm basically doing a bunch of multiplications. So to sum it up, we first choose an angle, which can be either 45 or 22.5 degrees, and we can reverse, we convert that into a actual direction that the UFO can understand, and then we can choose to reverse either the vertical, horizontal, or both, so that it can fly in any of 8 directions. And finally we have this flag, which determines if our UFO is actually going to move at all. So with that done, we can use some wormholes to keep our code nice and clean. I'm going to use some X and Y letters to represent the horizontal and vertical movement, like so. And now we've got, now I can just do the same with my UFO, but with the exits. So X exit into the left and right port, and Y exit into the up and down port. Maybe my programming class next semester will have a NoteOn course. That would be cool. The layout of this is so pleasing. Yeah, I agree, Dom. I really like having this kind of tree structure to my code. I think it makes it nice and easy to read. Hey Nintendo Plush, welcome to the stream. Hope you enjoy your stay. Okay, so just so we can try it and actually show you what all of this is doing, I'm gonna do a bunch of placeholder code. So I'm gonna use the L button to control this and the Y button to control this. The R button to control this, sorry. And I'm also gonna put a couple of number objects so we can actually see the numbers. So this blue box will be our angle. So I'm gonna send that in and that in. I'm gonna have a... Oops. I should probably log this down. I'm gonna put a red box, which will be the state of our horizontal and vertical switch. Or sorry, just horizontal for this one. Like so. And I'm gonna do a green box, which will tell us the state of our vertical switch. And so now we can actually get a nice visualization of what's going on. So if I press A, it's gonna pick an angle. Oh, wait, what's going on? Oh, of course, I forgot to turn on the flag, so I'm gonna do that. There we go. So if I press the button, you can see if I press buttons, it's actually changing directions. So if I turn on the red flag, you can see my UFO is now going the opposite direction. So it's going, instead of going right, it's going left. And if I turn on that green flag, it's gonna fly downwards instead of upwards. And if I press A, you can see it's gonna change that angle. So now it's flying at a much steeper angle. But if I press it again, there's a random chance it will fly at a lower angle. So that's 3 different switches, so to speak, and with that we can make some interesting trajectories like this one. Now obviously I don't want to have to do that with buttons. I want the bird to do that on its own. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to add some logic. So I'm going to get rid of these. I'm going to keep the little boxes for now, just so I'm maybe just put them in a corner of the screen, like so. And now I'm going to add the actual logic. So the first thing we want to do is we want to pick an angle, and for that I'm just gonna use a onStart NoteOn for now. So this is gonna pick an angle as soon as the game starts. Later on I will add some additional logic because I don't want it to happen the second the game turns on. I want the player to start the game first, so that's what I'm gonna do. Oh, I missed a lot of in chat, sorry, excuse me, I'm getting a bit lost in my explanations. The Iron Makes asks, by the way, who are the only one in your class that can program code and your friends can't? I don't know if you were asking me or if you were asking Chalupa. I don't really know how to code in the traditional way. Like, GBG is basically my only real programming experience. I don't really know how to do that with actual like code to create, you know, actual games and applications and stuff. Making AI is so daunting and you make it look so simple, says Chilba. Well, thank you. I really want to explain what I'm doing as best as I can. It's not super easy for me. You know, it's very new. Like, I usually don't have an audience to share this with. Hopefully I'm doing a good job at it. Okay, so on start we pick a random direction. So now if we start the game, you can see that it has actually chosen a direction for us. So as I restart the game, you can see it will sometimes change the direction because it is random. So that's cool. And now we need something to happen when the UFO hits those touch sensors. Because right now, if I just let the UFO fly, it will just disappear, and that is not what we want. We want the UFO to stay inside of the game screen, and that's what these touch sensors are for. So when the UFO touches these walls, I want it to always change the horizontal directions. So horizontal directions, that is this counter right here. So I'm just gonna send the touching count into the count up, like so. And I'm gonna do the same with this one. And hopefully, I say hopefully, it should bounce. Yes, so as you can see, the moment it hit this wall, or I guess not now because, okay, actually, okay, there we go. You can see it hit the touch sensor and now it's flying in the other direction. The red flag has turned on. We're gonna do the same with with those like up and down bounce, except this time we want to trigger the vertical invert, like so. And that should be enough to keep our UFO inside our screen. So we'll just let it fly, and as you can see, it is staying inside the screen. The flags are turning on and off depending on how it's hitting the wall. And we have a cool little bouncing UFO. I could just slap a DVD icon on it and call it a day, but it wouldn't be too fun, so we'll just have to continue making this actual game. One other thing I want to do is I actually also want to change the angle, because right now, it's at 45 degrees, it will always fly at 45 degrees. But I do want it to have a chance of changing whenever it hits those walls. That should be fairly simple. All I have to do is basically plug all of these sensors into the random NoteOn, like so, and now if you can see now it's changing the angle sometimes, which already makes our flight pattern a bit less predictable. So it should be more interesting to view. Another thing I'm gonna do is also changing the other direction. So if I hit those walls, it will always change the horizontal direction, but I also want to sometimes change the vertical direction, so that there's a chance that the bird will actually do a full 180 and go and backtrack instead of just having a reflection, basically. So the way I'm gonna do that is I'm simply gonna have another random NoteOn, or a couple of them at least. Or actually, you know what? I could just nah, I'll just do it like this. So we can. I'm gonna plug these two sensors into our random NoteOn. I will change the range from 1 to 2. That way, there's only like a 50-50 chance of changing their direction. And I'm just gonna do a comparison again. So I will compare it to 1. That way, when it's 1, it will make the comparison true, so it will output. But if it's 2, the comparison will be false, so it won't output. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna quickly duplicate it and do that. And I'm gonna plug the up and down sensors into the random NoteOn. So what's gonna happen now is when the UFO will hit a wall, it will always change its horizontal or vertical direction, but it also has a chance of changing the other direction. So if I let the UFO fly for a bit, we might be able to see it, hopefully. Yeah, as you can see, oh, did it just fly off screen? Okay, I need to, so you did see that instead of just, you know, bouncing, it kind of went back onto its tracks, but it also managed to exit the screen, so not sure what happened. I'm gonna have to watch it again. That is weird. Come on, do the thing. Yes. Oh, that's not. That is not good. What happened? Why did it do that? Bye-bye. Yeah, that's right. UFOs are a lot like friends if you don't blockade them with person sensitive escape. That's all my relationships summed up. By the way, have you watched the second Sonic movie? No, I've actually downloaded it, but I'm waiting so I can see it with my partner because they were really excited to see it and I want to watch it with them. So I'm gonna have to try and avoid spoilers for a little more. Should be okay. Oh, that's gonna be a problem because I'm not sure what happened. I'm actually not sure why it did what it did. So we need to do some forensic analysis. That is very strange. So it seems that the moment the UFO goes backwards, it stops everything else from working, which is definitely not supposed to be happening. So interesting. What might have happened? Oh, I'm guessing that it did not actually change. So what happened was the UFO hit the wall, the vertical flag turned on, but it did not turn off when it hit the UFO, when this sensor, even though it's supposed to. At least that's my understanding. I'm gonna have to watch it again. I'm sorry. Yeah, why didn't it trigger this switch? Debugging this thing is a monster. I wasn't expecting it to be, honestly. Yeah, so it's going back and weird. So it's like whenever I'm actually like doing the random switcheroo, it's actually breaking the whole thing. So you know what? I'm actually just gonna forget about this for a while. Maybe come back to it later. I'm really not sure why it's doing it. That's okay. We'll just forget about it for a while. We'll just pretend it didn't happen. Either way, now that we have a flying bird, we now need a way to shoot it. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna move my UFO. Actually, I'm gonna move it out of the way completely, and I'm gonna already put a teleporting setup. That might be easier. So I'm gonna set it to G for Goose, obviously. Set the physics to reset. I'm just gonna put it here. Should be okay. And now I'm gonna put the other end of the teleporter. Set it to G for Goose again, and only teleport the UFO. So now I can plug it in, and I'm just gonna trigger it on start. That way, when the game starts, our bird just pops into place, right? And that way we can keep the UFO and all its NoteOn out of the way. Should make it easier to work inside our game screen. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to create a motion aiming system. And for that, I'm actually going to use the hand NoteOn this time. On Monday, I actually used the tilt NoteOn, but I think from experience that the hand NoteOn are more robust and reliable. So if I put a right hand NoteOn here, I'll keep it on automatic, that's fine. So it's basically gonna make a hand, so I can move it around. Though I don't want to use the actual like line that you can see, right? I don't really like it. It doesn't look great. Instead, I'm basically gonna use a bunch of little tricks to know how our hand is moving and use that to control our cursor instead. It seems like something is wrong with the bounce. The glitch happened when the UFO bounced weirdly. Yeah, I'll have to investigate because that's definitely not supposed to happen. I'm gonna try debugging, maybe upstream, because don't know if that would be very entertaining to watch. Hey Kirby Super, thanks for stopping by. Can't stay for long, but I thought I'd say hi. Well, hope you can enjoy the stream while you can stay. Alright, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna create an angle sensor, and I'm gonna plug it, well, I'm gonna connect it to our hand. And that will give us the angle of our, well, hand. You can see now I have a cube around it. I don't know if you can see it because it's a very thin line, but it's here, and it's moving with my Joy-Con. It's following the motion of my Joy-Con. I'm gonna make it invisible though, because I don't want to see it. I'm also gonna change the center of rotation to elbow. That way the range of motion is a little bit bigger. So now I can create a slides, so free slide system. So I'm gonna make a box. I'm gonna disable everything because I want it to be completely affixed to the center of the screen. I don't want it to move. I don't want to interact with anything. It's just gonna be some kind of anchor that I can attach my free slide to. So I'm gonna do that. And now I'm gonna connect an object. I'm gonna use a fancy, let's say, not a balloon, maybe a football. Good old football. Connected to center. I'm gonna leave it visible for now and movable because we do want it to move. And I'm just gonna plug it here. So now we've got an angle and we've got a free slide. An angle is an angle and a free slide is expecting coordinates. Kind of like this whole thing with the angle and the coordinate we're sending into our UFO. So again, we'll need to call in our friend, the angle's position. So I'm gonna have one for the X angle and I'm gonna have one for the Y angle. Oh, I have an idea, says the RNMX. You can set the FOV to 10 to make it look 2D. Yeah, that's true. I could change the FOV. However, the issue with that is when I turn it to 10, the sky doesn't look so good anymore. Everything is flatter, the perspective is more 2D, but the sky ends up... You can just see the fog instead of the clouds, so... I actually don't really want that. So that's a really good idea. Maybe if I decide to go like with the NES kind of graphics, then it won't matter because it would just be a solid color. For now, I'm just gonna keep it at 60, but thanks for the suggestion. I'll keep that in mind depending on what kind of artistic direction I choose to go with. So, one thing to know is, I've connected the y-axis and the x-axis. However, that does not mean that the x-axis is the horizontal movement and the y-axis is the vertical movement. It's actually quite the opposite. Let me just illustrate. So if I have our good friend, the cube here, very bad cube, but a cube's a cube. and I just draw a bunch of axes. So this is our x-axis and this is our y-axis. It's actually gonna rotate around these. So if it's rotating along the y-axis, even though the y-axis is vertical, it's actually gonna rotate horizontally like so. And even though the x-axis, so it's kind of like twisting from left to right. And even though this one is a horizontal line, it's gonna swivel around it, kind of like a gymnast on a horizontal bar. So that's something to watch out for. So I just have to remember that this is the vertical axis and this is the horizontal axis. So I'm just gonna switch them around because in my mind, you know, I put horizontal then vertical. And if I were to just plug these, so horizontal position into X and vertical position into Y, and I start, I can now move my my Joy-Con, and it's moving the football. It is moving in a strange way, however. So you can see it's kind of bouncing around the place. Not ideal. We do need to do some fine-tuning first. So let me see if I can do it from memory. The first thing I'm gonna do is remap the angle of the y-axis. So the y-axis, it can be between -180 to 180. However, that's a little too big. It means we'd basically have to swing the Joy-Con all the way back to reach the edge of the screen. It's not what we want. Instead, we want to set up a limited range. And that's where range restriction comes in. So, for example, let's say my range would be between, let's say, 30 degrees in either direction, so -30 to +30. If I enable range restriction, it means that the map will just ignore anything beyond those two inputs here. So if it goes past 30, it will just ignore it, it will stay 30, even though it's technically receiving something that's above it. And I'm gonna change the output to, again, -180 to 180, I think. That should be it. So that way, even though I'm only moving 30 degrees in either direction, which is a much more reasonable range that I can expect the player to be able to cover, the game, well, it will be treated as if it were a full rotation. Alright, so we can try fitting that into our angled position, and we'll see if it works. So it is behaving a bit weird. You can't see my Joy-Con right now, but look, I'm holding it all the way back at 30, and now I'm slowly moving it back. So here I'm holding it straight on, and now I'm going into +30. So I'm not actually going the other direction, it's just naturally going the other way. That's definitely not what we want, so let me just adjust that. Maybe 0 to 180 will work. Yes, so that was the key. So now it's, you know, it's not doing that weird kind of bounce anymore, but it is going backwards. So I'm tilting my Joy-Cons to the right, but it's going to the left. Easy fix. All I have to do is flip the invert switch, like so. And now my football is kind of following my Joy-Con, which is exactly what we want. Let me just do the same for vertical. So again, I need to remap the angle because currently it's way too high. I need to do crazy big motion with my Joy-Con for it to move. Now, this won't really work, I think. I will need to basically kind of guess it, right? I'm gonna have to go back and forth because it's not an exact science. I do need to test it to make sure it behaves the way I want. So I'm just gonna keep it like this for now. yeah, it is again doing a weird bounce, so I will need to restrict the range even more. I think for this one I will need to do minus 90 to 90. I know I'm not really explaining anything right now, but that's okay. I might explain it when I'm done with this. Okay, so now as you can see, it is moving in a much more, logical way. So it's not going crazy. You can tell that it's moving like it's supposed to. It's not doing any weird arcs or anything like that. But currently, it can only move within a very limited range. So I need to change that as well. So this will only output between -1 and 1. And when that's sent into the free slide, it gets turned into meters. So right now my ball can only move 1 meter in every direction, but that's not enough to cover the whole screen. So again, we'll use our trusty friend, the map NoteOn. I'm gonna remap it to, so I'm gonna remap -1 to 1 because that is the range of the angled position. And I'm going to limit it to be the size of my game screen. So the game screen, it's 9.6 meters horizontally. And so to get the numbers, I can't just do, 0 to 9.6. That won't work because the little box here is actually at the center of the screen. So we basically need to kind of take those two and shift them until the middle of this range is at 0. So that means our first slider is going to be at 4.8, and our second slider is going to be 4.8 also. So that's still a range of 9.6, but it's shifted so that the center of it is 0. That's what it's doing. And I'm going to do the same. The vertical size of the screen is 5.4 meters, so divided by 2, that's 2.7. So I'm going to do the same. And again, just like before, this range, the length of this range, it's still 5.4, but it's positioned so that the middle point is where 0 is. So if we just send those mapped out inputs into our free slide, you can see now it's actually moving and I can't make it go past the edges of the screen. It's always going to stick to the edge of the screen and it's going to follow my Joy-Con, and we have a cursor. And the nice thing with the hand is that we can just recenter it whenever we want. We just have to aim at the middle of the screen and press the stick, and that kind of recenters it. So, if it kind of veers a bit too much, I can just press the stick and it will reset back. So that's cool. That's kind of a built-in feature that's super useful, because you wouldn't want to have those tracking issues making it difficult to play. So it's nice to have this, already built in, not having to code it. Alright, so we've got a UFO that can fly, that can bounce up the screen, and we have a cursor that can move following our Joy-Con. Now, we want to be able to do something when these two interact. Because, right now I can't really actually shoot at our UFO, but I want to be able to. That's like the whole point of the game. So how do I do that? First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give my UFO a sensor, a touch sensor to be precise, and I want it to be while touched, and I want to detect the football, because the football is my cursor object, and that way it will output while our football is touching our UFO. So just to try it out, we're gonna have it play an instrument. Yeah, that should do it. So now, if I go back into the game, you can see that if my football touches the UFO, it will sound the trumpet, as long as the football is onto the UFO. So if I just follow the UFO, you actually just keep playing the trumpet sounds. But the moment my football leaves that sensor, it will stop playing. So we basically have a way to detect whenever our cursor is right over the UFO, which is exactly what we want. So with that, we can remove the sound. We don't need it anymore because we know it works. I'm gonna use a wormhole again to keep my thing steady. And I'm gonna set it to use the letter H for hover, because I like using letters that kind of have a meaning. So let's do some code. So we'll bring up an exit. That way we can retrieve the signal from that sensor. And we want to do something when we push the trigger on the Joy-Con and our cursor is hovering the UFO. So we'll bring up a button NoteOn, the ZR button to be precise, and we'll use an end NoteOn. We'll quickly change this to on press because we only want to register the moment we press a button. Otherwise, you could just hold the button the whole time and it will just count as a hit. That's not fun. So on press, and we'll just plug those straight into our end NoteOn. And just to make sure it works, we can play some SFX. So I'm gonna play this sound, this like done sound, when this is true, when this condition is true. And I'm also gonna play a sound just when we press the button. That way, for example, let's see. Yeah, this one, kind of like gun sound. So now, if I just press the button, it will play a, this kind of gun sound. But if I hover over the UFO and I press a button, it's also gonna play this little chime. So now we are able to tell when we are pushing the button and we're actually aiming. It's our UFO. So we can say that it is a hit. So what I'm going to do is I want this end NoteOn to turn off our flag. So if you remember, this flag right here controls like all this flight. So the way it bounces over the screen, it's all controlled. It can all be turned off via this flag. I'm gonna turn it on start instead. And so now, it will activate the moment the game starts, so the duck will start flying, and then when we shoot at it, it will turn off the flag, so it should stop. So I've just shot it, and now it's not moving anymore. So we know that this part is working. Our bird is not into flight mode anymore, and we can make it do whatever we want. So for example, we could use it to turn on a flag, like so. And that flag could be remapped, let's say from 1 to -2, inverted. And we'll send that into our Y wormhole. And if you remember, the Y wormhole goes into the up-down port on the UFO. So in theory, when this flag becomes active, which it does whenever our UFO is shot, it will force the UFO to fly downwards. So let's just test it. It's working. So now our UFO will just keep flying downwards whenever we shoot at it. But if we just, shoot in the air, it won't do anything. It has to specifically hit the UFO. So we already have some kind of code, some kind of very basic code to handle whether our duck is hit or not, which is great. That's gonna save us a lot of time. The second thing I want to do, AdFX says dynamics. Yeah, we'll do that. But probably later. I do want to get the code working first before I start adding a bunch of flourishes. So we can shoot at our duck, but right now it's kind of easy because, you know, we don't have a time limit just yet. In Duck Hunt, there is a time limit, so after a while, the bird will just fly away, and that will count as a miss. We won't be able to shoot it anymore. So we can do that. There's an easy way to do that. It's going to use a counter. So this counter is going to be our flight timer. So the way it works is we set a range, let's say 100 for now, and we'll set the starting value at 100. That way, 100 I said. That way, when the game begins, that counter is at 100, and we can make it count down. And we can just use a single knot to detect when that counter reaches 0. Hey, Samtoy channel, what huge progress have you made yet? Well, funny enough, I'm actually starting from scratch because I ran into some issues trying to clean up my codes, so I figured I might as well just go for a cleaner foundation. This is what I explained at the start of the stream, so... hey, Movie XP. Hope you had a nice day at school. So back to this. This counter is going to be our timer, and it's going to count down from 100. And when it is going to reach 0, that knot will be activated. And just like our flag, we can use it to turn off the flight. So if I just send an input into our countdown, as soon as I start the game, it will fly, and then my bird will stop because the counter has run out. Oh, it was horrible. I had a math test, says Movies XP. Sorry to hear. I'm sure you didn't do too bad. Hope you had studied for it. So just like we did with this, which is basically sending a negative number into the Y port to make the UFO fly downwards, we're going to do the same but in reverse. So instead of sending a negative value, we're going to send a positive one, and that will make it fly upwards, because that's what happens in Duck Hunt. When the duck flies away, it will just fly straight up. So, going to our map, and again, we'll send that into a Y wormhole. So if we trade out, you can see now, the bird will just, well, the UFO will just fly up after a very short amount of time. Too short, even. We have to change that. So the thing with the counter NoteOn is if you send an input of 1 into it, it will count by 1 every frame. And since the game runs at 60 frames a second, that means it can count up to 60 or down from 60 in a single second, which is way too long, which is way too short, sorry. We do want that to be longer, so I'm gonna go with, let's say, 300, which divided by 60 is 5, so that's like having a 5-second timer. So we can just wait, and after 5 seconds it should... what happened? Oh, I didn't change the starting value. Never. Okay, that should fix it. So after 5 seconds, it should just fly up. So we'll wait a little, and it flies up. Still maybe a bit too much, but just for testing it should be fine. However, here's something that might happen. I'm gonna make a new number object, make it pink just to differentiate it. If I watch the value here, you'll see what I'm doing. So you can see, even if I'm shooting, the timer is still gonna keep running. So if I were to wait until the very end to shoot my UFO, you can see now it's not flying anymore. That's because it is receiving both an input from the timer and an input from the shooting mechanism. So what's happening is it's being told to fly upwards, but it's also being told to fly downwards, so it just stops, right? They kind of cancel out. We don't want that to happen. We don't want to be able to either shoot while the counter has run out, and we don't want the counter to run out if the bird has been shot. So that's going to be a bit more involved in terms of logic. Let's give it a try. So instead of a constant, we need something that we can turn on and off. So I'm going to use a flag. We'll be using a lot of flags. So I'm just going to plug it into the counter here. So now if I start the game, you can see it doesn't start running. That's because the flag is off by the time the game starts. So I can just put my on start back in and set it to on. And what I can do is, you can see here this end node on that detects when we push the button and we are hovering the UFO. We can use it to turn the flag off, like so. So now, wait, what? Why is it not counting down? Hold up. Why is it not doing anything? That's not supposed to happen. Oh, I'm put it into count down, count up instead of down. Oops, that happens sometimes. There we go. So now it's counting down. If I let it run out, the UFO will just fly up. But if I restart and if I shoot the UFO, you can see now the timer has stopped. It's not counting down anymore, so no matter what, whenever the UFO is shot, it will never run out, so it will not fly up again. It will not count as a miss. So that's good. Now we just need to do the same, except we want the shooting to work only while the timer is still running. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to use a second end node on here. Might be easier to just move these out of the way. So when the button is pressed and the wormhole is active and the counter is also active. So what this does is this end node on will send a 1 only if the ZR button is pressed and the H wormhole is active, which is when we are hovering the UFO with the cursor, and while the counter is has a number to output. So when it reaches 0, it will not output anymore, so the end will not be able to output. So we can demonstrate it. We'll just wait for the timer to run out, and when it does, we shouldn't be able to shoot at the duck anymore. So I'm just gonna wait. Yeah, you can see I shot at it and it's not actually playing the sound. So now we've successfully made these two completely exclusive from one another. So there should be no way that both of these would be active at the same time, which is important. Yarn Makes asks, are you going to make more than one quote-unquote goose? No, for now I'm just gonna stick with one. I'm gonna specifically recreate the game mode A from Duckon, which only has one duck. I may be making a variant of this game with like the 2 ducks game mode. Could be fun for those who are looking for a more challenging game. But that's gonna be for another time, probably. So, so now we can shoot. Now we can miss. We can like miss if we wait too long. Another thing we can do is add some ammunition. So, ammunition. In Duck Hunt, you only have 3 bullets per duck. So if you miss a shot 3 times, it's game over. The bird will just fly away and it will count as a miss. So we need to keep track of how many times we have shot and, you know, make sure that we have hit the duck at least once during those 3 shots. So I'm gonna try and think of a way to make it work in a kind of clean way. Okay, let's try this. So I'm gonna put a flag between the knot and the map. That way, we can actually trigger this flag by other means, right? It won't just be this counter that can activate the flag. We can plug other stuff into it. So for example, if I plug an X button NoteOn into the flag, you know, if I just go and press X, it will just make the bird fly up. So we can force the bird to fly up even though the counter has not run out, because I assume the player is able to run out of ammo even though the timer has still some time on it. Movies XP says, I'm making a platformer character model and animation, however I know it's going to be spaghetti. Yeah, making custom characters, it's very difficult. Back from my test, how's programming going? Well, hope the test went well, troops. It's going well. So we're basically kind of back where we were at the end of Monday stream, where we have the duck, the duck, who can fly, and if we wait too long, it just flies off into infinity. We have our cursor we can shoot, and of course we can shoot the UFO and it just plummets downwards. Right now, I'm going to try and add the ammunition system, because right now, I can just shoot as many times as I want, so I bear no consequences for my very poor aiming skills, which is not challenging enough. We do need a way to punish the player for not getting good. So as I was just explaining, we have 3 bullets, so when we run out of bullets, we should forcefully trigger a loss. So we'll just use a counter, I guess. So let's see. I think this approach might be a bit too simple. It might introduce some issues, but I'm just gonna try anyway. I'm gonna use the same thing where I make a range, where I make it start at a number, and I just make it count down. Because I feel like that's gonna be easier to just check if it's off than checking if it's at a specific number. Laughing Dog asks, Movies XP. Yes, I will put the Laughing Dog in, but another time. So not, and I can use it to enable the flag and also turn off this. So hopefully, if I shoot 3 times, yep, it sure is flying. I'm gonna change that. Remember this flag. I'm not gonna turn it off with these this like knots. I'm gonna turn it off with the flag instead. And now, yeah, it's gonna fly straight upwards now. If I shoot 3 times, I need to check if I can shoot it on the third. Yeah, okay, so we have the same problem that we ran into before, where the shot state and the fleeing state kind of overlap, so they cancel out and the UFO just stays stuck in place. So let's try and figure out a way to solve that. So I'm thinking I could only count the number of missed shots. So right now I'm counting all the shots, so if I'm missing, you know, it counts, but if I'm hitting, it counts as well. So, you know, even if I land a successful hit, it will make it count down, and that might be causing our issues. So instead of just plugging the button straight into it, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do something different. So when a valid shot is not happening, so I'm going to specifically try and have a condition for a shot that is not hitting the UFO. So the way I'm thinking is I'm gonna do an end. So if the button pressed and this end is not doing anything, it's a bit strange, but essentially what this should do is only allow us to count down our ammo if we are hitting the button, but the rest of this is actually not working. So let's give this a try. I'll shoot twice to waste some ammo, and I shoot. And as you can see now, it is working. I did use my last bullet on the UFO, and it is working as intended. It is a bit messy, admittedly. Maybe I can just... yeah, I'm probably gonna do it this way instead. I think this will work just as well. Like so, maybe? Yeah, should work. Yeah, okay. So now we've successfully isolated the, you know, kind of bullet counting from counting hits. So I can now run out of bullets. And I can just shoot even if I'm just down to my last bullet, which is kind of the issue I kind of encountered when I was trying to clean up my last codes. Oh, why is it playing twice? Hold on, let me just skip this song. Yeah, okay. Never heard this Mario mix. It is from the Mario and Sonic at the Olympics. They actually have some really nice remix of Mario and Sonic songs. They're true bops, really. Absolute bangers. Anyway, so now we are fully back to where we were on Monday. We can now do some actual progress, which is what you've been all waiting for, I'm sure. So one thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to display a bullet counter. And I'm going to use a separate counter for this because I do want bullets to run out. Well, I do want to use up a bullet when I'm hitting, which this is not capable of doing. This will only count missed shots. We want to count all shots, even the successful ones. So I'm gonna just use a counter for this, and what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna display a little texture alongside our cursor. And speaking of, I think it's time I draw a little reticle. So just bring up a donut, and I'm just gonna draw something very badly. That's fine, just a placeholder for now. Yeah, that'll do. I'm gonna bring it to my football and resize it to fit. I'm gonna change the texture face to, I guess, Z center. And I'm gonna make the football invisible. And now we have an actual looking cursor, which is better. And now I'm gonna try to display some ammunition. So the way I'm gonna do it is I'm gonna actually go back to this football right here. I'm gonna just make a box, really. A box that is invisible. Well, I'll keep it visible for now, but I'm gonna connect the top of the box to the bottom of my football. And now if I attach it to my football, oop, not like this. Oh, actually yes, like this. So now we have a box that follows my cursor around. Got to go now, but this has been really great. Definitely check out the rest of the video later. Thanks, Dom. See you around. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Hope you'll enjoy the VOD as well. Me and American football. Yeah, no hand eggs there. Sorry. Actual footballs. We play with actual balls and actual feet. So I'm gonna create another texture again. Oh, didn't want to do that. Texture, and I'm gonna just draw a little ammo counter. Oh, check that smooth line. Okay, that wasn't as smooth, but whatever, that'll work. There we go. Nice. Rectangle. And I'm just gonna draw some bullets. A couple of bullets. Yeah, something like this, I guess. Yeah, that works. It's it's not great, but it works. I will be using the magical Arduino witchcraft later on, but for now, I just have my janky mouse skills. It should work. I mean, it's just programmer art for now. Okay, let's resize this. Oh, me again and fanatic bullets, says Sugar. That's right, we have some bullets. Resize the scale. Did I change the texture side? Yes, I did. Good. This remix is so good. You can totally give them a little face. Oh. I'll make this one angry. And I'll make this one a bit derpy. It is the Chalupa bullet. So now we have the ammo counter up on the screen. We wanted to count down, so we're gonna use a bunch of marker stuff, which is scary, but that's okay. We'll get through. So let's do some marker magic. Moving marker. We'll make it 4 squares wide. That should be it. Yes, the Chalupa bullet. That's right. The drippy, cheesy bullets. Let's remap this to a range of 0, 3 to a range of 0, 1. If you get one thumb and another and put them on the texture to the screen and erase the first one, you can get an almost perfect line. That's true. I can't use my thumb because my Switch is docked right now. So, unfortunately, I won't be able to use this little trick. Markers are the enemy of anyone's GBG game, says Tom Joy Channel. I'm fine with them. I've learned to tame the markers a long time ago. It's not my first rodeo. So what I'm doing here is I'm changing my bullseye settings. I'm making it digital. I don't want the output to vary between 0 and 1. I want the output to only be 1. And I'm setting the range to be 0.05 to 1. If I leave it at 0, it will output even if it has no marker over it. you can tell that this little box is green. It's not supposed to be green, it should be white because it's not over any marker. So I'm just gonna do that. And this one will be, you can see here, you know, I'm moving it, it's 0, but the second I am just touching a bit of the marker, it is 1. So that's exactly what we want. So I'm gonna set it to show the 3 bullets texture. I'm gonna make a variant. I'm gonna recolor it to be dark brown to signify that it is empty. And that will be this marker. And this bullseye will only show when the counter is 2. So we'll do the same for 1 bullet. And we'll do one for 0 bullets. Oh, there we go. So we have our textures. We have oops. I noticed sometimes your PNG tuber doesn't move when talking. You might want to make it a little more sensitive. Might be because I'm actually like talking a bit quiet now. I will try to change that. Maybe if I get closer to the mic, it will work a little better, hopefully. I'm gonna get back to GBG. Why does it still say, let's go some geese to blast? I'm not gonna change it midstream because I have to go out of the game. I don't want to do that. It's just a generic like description, basically. Okay, let's plug all these into our little block. By the way, who still plays Labo? I do. I actually have my Labo cartridge on. I'm not gonna actually switch to Labo. That would be pointless, but yeah, I do still have my Labo game. I don't play it anymore because GBG does everything I want to do, but I still hold it dear to my heart. I spend a lot of time playing it. I've done a lot of cool stuff with it. It's on my channel. So yeah, but unfortunately, I've moved on to Labo. Okay, so now we have our bullet counter, and now if it is not doing anything. Oh no, what have I done? Oh, I have put in into the wrong counter input. So I do that again. Hey Disco, good to see you. Glad you could make it to today's stream. I sadly never could find the VR kit. Man, that's a shame, because like, I think it's absolutely one of the best Labo kits. I'm surprised that it's actually not findable anywhere. I don't know if you've tried finding it on Amazon or something. Kind of a bummer though, I'm gonna say. Okay, so now, yes, it is working. My bullets indicator is actually depleting. So now we have a way to tell how many bullets we've shot. Amazing. Okay, let's see how much. What time is it? Okay, so we've still got about an hour left before I'm gonna call it a day. So let's see, what should we do during this hour? Because I mean, we've got a perfectly working game. It's a game you can only play once, but it is a game. That you have had a wife and 3 kids, NoteOn. That's just how it is. It's cruel, but it has to be that way. There is a UFO overpopulation problem. We gotta fix it somehow. If nature can't regulate itself, I will regulate it. So I'm gonna have a system to respawn the bird. Or should I say UFO, because right now, as soon as I shoot it, nothing's gonna happen anymore. Voxy is single-handedly changing how I feel about motion controls, says Disco. Man, I'm glad to hear it. Like, motion controls rock. I love motion controls. I'm a sucker for those, like, that Wii era where filthy casuals got into video games. It just feels good, really. Even the simple stuff like motion aiming, I find that incredible. The cruel cycle of choosing the goose. Yeah, I've choiced many many geese during this stream. That's just how things are, unfortunately. Hunting is a very cruel thing, but someone has to do it, and that someone will be me, and everyone who will get to play Goose Blasting Gunman when it's ready to release. Okay. So we're gonna respawn our little UFO goose. So the way I'm doing it is I'm just gonna use timers. So what should happen is whenever one of those flags get activated, so the miss flag, which sends the bird flying upwards, or the shot flag, which sends the bird flying downwards, I want to kind of reset the game. And I'm not gonna do a restart NoteOn, instead I'm just gonna use timers, and I'm just gonna turn off either of those flags and turn back on this one, and also teleport our UFO again. So timer, 2 seconds, just for now, and I'm gonna activate it the moment our flag triggers. So I'm gonna use a trigger from 0. That way we don't have any issues with the timer kind of looping. Bye, I might pop in and out, says some channel. Alright, see you around. Hope you have a nice day. Okay, let's do this. So I'm gonna turn this flag off. And I'm gonna turn this flag off. Like so. And I'm also gonna turn back on the light flag, like so. And I'm also gonna send an input into the teleport. So in theory, if I either shoot the UFO or I wait for the UFO to fly out, after 2 seconds it should spawn back at the bottom of the screen and go back into flight. I'm also gonna retrigger this because yeah. So let's wait until the timer runs out. Okay, that didn't work. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh, I didn't reset the I should also reset the counter instead. And also turn it back on. Lots of spaghetti. We'll see how it goes. So let's wait. Why aren't you flying? Hey, buddy. Okay. Maybe the issue is because I'm turning off the flight flag using the constant input from the flag. So I'm gonna use the I'm gonna use the trigger NoteOn instead. I'm gonna do the same with this one. I'll probably just go and add in a bunch of wormholes later. As long as the code is working, it's fine. So, come on, fly away. Alright, and this, going back into action. The counter is reset, so it's basically just gonna go in a kind of loop, which is great. I can try it again, so I'm gonna shoot it, and it's back into action. Great. And I can run out of bullets, and it's not doing anything because I forgot skull to reset our counter here. So again, reset. So again, I will need to make a bunch of wormholes because a lot of this is redundant. It's messy, but that's fine. I also noticed that something happened. Let me see. Okay, so it's resetting, but when I run out of bullets, it is continuously flying upwards, which is strange. It shouldn't be doing that. Oh, I need to reset that as well. So another noodle. Yes, I forgot. In fact, let me spell it out. I forgot. But now I remember. Hey, Mr. O, good to see you. Very glad you could join us today. I really got all the GBG cool cats today. That's really cool. Very happy. Okay. Yes. Awesome. So I've successfully added a respawn mechanic that isn't glitching out, which I'm super happy with. Oh. Hold up. What just happened there? Hey, that's not supposed to happen. What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm not supposed to be able to shoot while this condition is active, which I thought I had done, but apparently not. So that's fine. Wait, what? Oh. Yeah, I need to add another end, I think, to this. Yo. Oi. What a noisy fella. Yeah, I did remake it from scratch in the end. Hopefully it won't come back to bite me in the butt. I'm pretty confident it won't, but we can never be too sure. Okay. I know what's happening. So now I'm basically adding yet another condition to register a hit, which is that the fleeing should not have triggered. So now I should be completely unable to shoot the duck while it's flying upwards. Voxy when something messes up. Shit, that's not right. What are you doing? Me when something messes up. No! Yeah, I'm containing myself because I'm live. That's what's going on. That's the secret. It's almost therapeutic. I don't feel a need to scream and shout and let it all out. So with this fixed, well, what could I do now? One thing I noticed is that when I oh. Yeah, so okay, so these are not resetting. I feel like they should be resetting. So I'm gonna go ahead and do just that. So let's add even more noodles. So live Vox is a facade. Maybe the gun shooting is such a happy event. Yeah, that's definitely it. I'm actually like, I do swear a lot, but seeing as most of my viewers, well, pretty much all of them are from the Video Dojo community, I feel like I should not be swearing on stream. I'm gonna basically act the same as I do on the Video Dojo Discord, which is more family friendly than what I would be usually. Let's hope I can keep that up though. That would be unfortunate. Also, I've just realized something. You know, my UFO is always flying to the right, which is not right. I do want it to fly to the left sometimes, so that is something that I did on the previous build, but I completely forgot to add here, is that I also want to trigger the horizontal flag at random, so let me just go ahead and do just that. I'm gonna just reuse that. It's fine. Okay, so now it has a random chance of flying in reverse. What? You're not supposed to do that. What are you doing? What are you doing? That's not right. I probably need... Yeah, I will probably need a trigger from 0 in between. I guess that's the issue that I ran into before when I tried to add the kind of backtrack thing. I think somewhere it might have locked the counter inputs. Because if you send a constant input into the counter, it will just stop reacting to any other inputs. So that might have been what's happened. Okay, yeah, alright. Yeah, it's going left, and it shouldn't be leaving the screen anymore. Okay, so that's good, that's done. Dream has a Vlogs, I know I just personally like hearing swear, so it's nice to know. Don't feel bad if you slip. Yeah, but I'm still gonna try, mostly because I know where my audience comes from. I know it's gonna be from a community that is family friendly, so it might be best to just keep it family friendly. I don't think swearing would add anything of substance to it anyway, so yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Alright, so okay, I got to go to bed, so I live in Indonesia, so it's night for me. Alright, see you, the RN Makes. Hope you have a good night. Thanks for hanging out with me. Hope you had a good time. Okay, let's see. What should we do now? I guess we could try and add some. I guess we could try and add the dog. It could be... Well, when I say dog, I say probably mean a fancy analog for the... Man, Chopin would love to hear them say, "Oh gosh, diddly darn." That would be very funny. I'll try not to drop any F-bombs though. You know what? Let's try and add the mischievous laughing dog that we all hate. So the way I'm thinking it should go is... Let's see. Okay, I think I got it. So, one thing I want to do is I don't want the duck to only spawn in the middle of the screen. I do want to have kind of a random position. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm just going to have another kind of anchor. And I'm just going to use an X slide. More great Labo tunes, I think. So I'm gonna put the teleporter exit on this slider, so let's do that. We can't attach the exit directly to the slide, we need something in between, so that's why I'm adding a box. Let's do it. So right now it didn't change anything, but I'm gonna make it visible again just for now, so we can see it. So right now it's here, but now that we have a free slide, we are free to control it. And our good friend the random NoteOn will come to the rescue once again. Let's say, I don't know. I don't know if there's like a specific range in Duck Hunt. I'm just gonna go with 6 for now. That should be fine. Should be good. And I'm just gonna use a map NoteOn this time because I don't want to do a comparison for each number, right? That would be tedious. So instead, I'm gonna remap that 0 or maybe 1 to 6 range to let's say -4 and 4. So based on what number this will output, this will put the box with detail border is y -2 y plus. Oh, that is, oh, nice spot, nice spotted. I do want it centered center. Thanks for letting me know. Okay, so now I'm gonna do another unstock NoteOn to change the number, and now you can see my teleporter has moved into this location. If I restart, now it's here, and it should change with every restart. Yeah, so that is working. My UFO isn't actually like spawning there. That's probably because it is teleporting before the box has a chance to move. That's fine. It's not an issue for now, but obviously, you know, when the it will respawn from there. So that's what we want. I do also want to change that value using those timers, so when the UFO is ready to spawn, the box will have moved. So let's do that. Nice. Okay, so that is working. Oh. Hold on, what happened? They just fly up, even though I still had bullets? That's weird. Oh! Wait. That's odd. Not sure why it's doing that. Okay, not sure what happened. If I encounter it later, I will look into it. Everyone I know puts number NoteOn down to game test. Meanwhile, just brute for programming and hope it works. It's a really good habit to take. Honestly, just showing important numbers can be a precious ally when debugging. Okay, so now let's add our quote-unquote dog. Mr. Ro says my eyes are always peeled because I'm one and I can't close myself. Man, you must suffer from a bad case of dry eye if that's the case. Alright. You know what, I'll just make it a hippo for now. Why not? So what I want to do is I want to move, because I think the dog in Duck Hunt kind of pops out of the screen wherever the duck happened to be when you shot it. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm just gonna use a position sensor on the UFO, like so. Yeah, frame of reference world should be fine. And I'm just gonna use that to control the slide amount. let's see. Yep, so now we have a hippo that follows our UFO, wherever it goes. Though it's not all I want to do. I do want the hippo to kind of slide upwards to either laugh at us or, proudly show off the UFO with shots. So I'm just gonna have a second slider, which is gonna go on Y instead. I'm gonna set it to be, let's say, -1 to 1 as a range. It's a great discussion about blinking in chat. Pretty cool. Okay, so, and I'm also gonna turn it invisible with an empty texture. Okay. Let's do some additional logic. I'm gonna make another timer, this time only like maybe 0.5 seconds. And I'm gonna make it last for 1.5 seconds. I'm just doing stuff right now. Why don't you use a free slider instead of 2 sliders? Because I'm a bit slow and dumb, and I didn't think of that. Oh no. Why do I make my life more complicated? Oh. Why did I think of that? Okay. Oh. Okay, let's just get rid of this nonsense. Don't need you anymore. Okay, so if everything goes to plan, which I hope it will, what's gonna happen is when the duck flies away, or when it's shot, it's gonna make the hippo visible, or until the duck can respawn. Probably just gonna map this. It's gonna look rough for now. I will probably change that later, but that's fine. So now we shouldn't be able to see the hippo until I shoot, and yeah, it is working. Obviously, the kind of timing is all wrong, but I can always fix that later. I just noticed the counter just kind of stopped working, which is odd. This is the shooting. It should, yeah, okay. It should reset this, and it should enable this. So now I shoot. Okay, so it's working as intended again. And if I just force it to fly, yeah, it will also come out to mock me. So we've got a quote-unquote dog. It's a water puppy. It's obviously a water puppy. Duck and Dog's brother, Goose Gunman Hippo. Yeah. Oh, man, so many great ideas. Almost makes me want to not do a full duck and recreation, but instead just make a bunch of goofy characters. That would be funny. Alright, I guess we can basically move on to something else now. It is getting very messy, but I think cleaning up will be a bit boring. Hopefully, now that this code is more robust, it shouldn't be breaking as easily as it did when I was trying to reorganize my code from Monday. What can we do now? I guess we could do the round system. So Duck Hunt, there are system of rounds, and theoretically it's supposed to be an infinite number of rounds, with like the speed of the duck getting like faster with every subsequent round. The number of ducks you have to hit to go to the next round will also increase, so there's some kind of ramping up difficulty here. And for each round there are 10 ducks, so we will need to keep track of all of this stuff. Let me remember how on Elden Ring turtles are called dogs by the community. Oh, that's cute. That's kind of nice. A little shell puppies, as all zoologists call them. That's just science. The scientific name for turtle is shell puppy. Look it up. It's a fact. I would never say lies on stream. Never. Okay, let's do our usual counter doodad. We'll count from 10 to 0. And we'll display the number of ducks somewhere. Let's pick a nice orange. So now, yeah, we should see this number 10. And we want the number to decrease whenever we either shoot or let it escape. So let's do that. Oh, this is getting tough to read. I'm sorry. You have to deal with all this spaghetti. But that's just the way it is. Hey, nice. So it is counting down. Why is this not working? Oh my gosh. This fella here is causing me a lot of trouble. Well, it should be activated. This is reset. That's all fine. All fine and good. What happened? So I ran out of bullets. So when I shoot, it works. If I let it run out, will it also work? It does. It's only when I run out of bullets that it does not reset, even though it's supposed to be, you know, the same flag activating it. Which is definitely odd. I'm not sure what's going on, actually. Because, like, if I just run out of bullets, it does activate the flag. One detail, Vox, I don't know if you know, but the speed on UFO is limited. Yeah, it is limited, so it caps at 2 or -2. So when it's flying upwards or downwards, it's going as fast as it can go. I will have to change the actual like UFO speed in settings and adjust my values accordingly. But future Voxy can deal with that. For now, I do want to look at this because it is a strange. It is a very, very strange issue. Let's do some good old-fashioned debugging. Interesting. So I'm gonna let it run out, and it will trigger the system. It resets, and the flag gets turned back on by the timer. However, if I do it again, but this time I just shoot, it's also gonna, yeah, it's also supposed to reset the timer, but it's not, which is very strange. Let's see here. Oh, maybe it's because oh, I know. I think I know the issue. So when this counter hits 0, it is turning off the flag, but the counter is only resetting at the same time as everything else. So when it resets, I'm guessing that by the time it's registering that the flag should be reset, it actually hasn't reset the counter just yet. So it is still at 0 and the knot is still active, so it will keep forcing the flag to turn off. So I'm guessing I will need to find another way to do it. How could I do it actually? Will this work? Probably not, but at least probably not the way I intended. Oh, yeah, no, that doesn't work. Maybe I'll just do that. Yeah, that works for me. Except if I do that. Okay. So that might not have been the solution after all. What could I do? Add a little timer on the knots. That could work. We could try. Let's see. Timer. I'm guessing something like 0.05 should do the trick. Let's try it. Pew pew pew. Nope. It's actually breaking everything. Oh dear. Oh, wait. I also need to replace that. Pew pew pew. Nope. That broke everything. Oh, you'll need a trader from 0. Oh, of course. Yeah, my bad. My bad. I forgot that this was basically like on a loop. So let's try it. Pew pew and hey, nice. Thanks, Mr. O. Oh, hold on. That was not supposed. Oh, I forgot to Hey, nice. Yeah. Thanks again, Mr. O. The real MVP, as always. Okay. Choop asks, if you streamed enough to get emotes, what kind of emotes do you think you'll add? Good question. I'm actually not sure. I guess I would just make like kind of like Dumb, where his character has little cute little expressions. I might do that. I don't think I will be. I have no idea how you actually get emotes, custom emotes. So that's probably not gonna be happening. But yeah, it could be fun to think about. A nice bit of polish could have a click sound whenever bullets. Yeah, that's a good idea. I will do that. So I'll definitely do that. So this is linked to here. So let's do some end magic again. Boop and a boop. Like so. I'll just do this a second time, except here I'll wait for a knot. Again, it's getting messy, that's fine. I can't keep my cut clean apparently, that's That's not a problem. Let's see, machines. Typewriter or stapler? Actually, would be funny. Maybe typewriter will work. Let's see. Let's try it out. Yep, that works. Oh, I did something. What's happening? Did I not... Am I not resetting this? I'm not. Interesting. I won't judge Voxy, my codes will make Italian proud. Yeah. It does get difficult to work in after a while, so... Okay, so I think... Nope. I'm not sure how to, like, predictably trigger what just happened there. Oh. Okay, so if I just empty my all my bullets, apparently it kind of breaks things. Yeah, okay. It's gonna be tough. What do I... How could I prevent that from happening? I'm guessing I could add another condition. Because right now, you know, I'm only like counting down this system, which is the kind of out of ammo checking thing. So right now it only checks if I'm just shooting in the air, but I guess I should also check that I haven't already like shot the UFO. So I'm just gonna add another end. So I'm gonna check for that condition and that the flag is off. Yes, I do have two separate counters, one for the sprite and one for the out of ammo system, because I feel like it might be easier to keep them separate. I could use the same counter for the sprite. The way I have set it right now is this counter will count all the button presses, but this one will only count the button presses while the UFO is not being like touched by the cursor. So I'm basically just counting missed shots and not just all the shots. And the reason is I feel like that's probably a good way to prevent any issues where, you know, because like I was running into an issue where if I shot my last bullet at the UFO, the out of bullet state and the shot state would basically just cancel out each other, and it broke things. So I'm just making two separate systems. It's probably a more efficient way of doing it. However, you know, I have NoteOn spare, so I'm not too concerned with that just yet. But if I need to, I will look into some good old NoteOn shaving. Congrats on the 88% on your test, Chilpo. That's awesome. Okay, let's try it again. So I shoot, and now, yeah, I shouldn't be. Okay, so shouldn't be happening again. Oh. Yeah, so if I just empty my clip after I shot the duck, it will not cause any problems. Project Goose. I mean, it could be a Project Goose, or it could be Project Grouse. Who knows? Hey, am I hearing some whoopee dog? Okay, so Mappy. I get it, but IMO, I feel like it's not giving you a proper feedback on what shoots are triggering the teleports. The thing is, those states are mutually exclusive, so if I'm running out of shots, like if I'm running out of bullets, I know that it's this that will trigger the teleport. Because I cannot shoot the UFO while I'm out of bullets, and similarly, I made it so that you can't technically run out of bullets if you already shot the duck. So I'm kind of guarding myself against any conflicts. That's why I keep everything separate. Because like, if I go ahead and shoot, you know, I can empty my clip and it will show that it's empty on the sprite, but in the actual game logic, it technically still has 2 bullets, but I can't use them anymore, so it doesn't really matter. And everything gets reset after a while, so again, I don't think that would be too much of a concern. It might become one once I look into maybe having 2 ducks at once, but I'm not doing that yet, so again, that's gonna be a problem for future Voxy. Game audio seems to be a bit behind. Oh, I have no ways to check it really, unfortunately. I'm not sure like how much behind it is actually. Alright, so we have a hippo, we have our duck, we have a bunch of cool stuff. Let's see, what time is it? It's almost 6 p.m. I think I'm gonna wrap up in maybe 15 minutes. What could we do during these 15 minutes? Like a full second behind. Oh, that's not good. Let me see if I can somehow fix that, because that is a bit concerning. Let's see here. That's odd, because like I don't have any dropped frames, so I'm not sure like how it can go out of sync. You know what? I'm gonna try monitoring my the game audio, like the audio that goes into the stream. Maybe that would help. So monitoring. I'm gonna just too much of that. So it's fine on my like my monitoring end. I'm really not sure what could be causing the issues actually. And that is definitely strange. Okay, monitor off. I'm gonna turn back on my monitoring audio. Yeah, I'm sorry, I really don't know how to mess with any of that. I'm a bit scared actually to mess with my settings. Maybe I'll have to check when the stream is done. Okay, let's go back into the garage. Well, what can we do, actually? Yeah, stream is almost over. Though I need to ask, like, has it been this way the entire stream, or is it just, like, kind of getting worse as the stream progresses? Because, I'm really not sure. Like, I was pretty sure I was in sync. Thank you, Julpa. I'm really happy with the progress I've made today, even though, technically speaking, all I've added since Monday in terms of feature was just, you know, the hippo, and all the rest was just recoding something I had already coded before. But hopefully it should, like, serve as a nice base to work on in future streams. Should be, well, once it will be clean. I know I'm basically saying the exact same thing as on Monday. I hope it won't end up in a situation where I will also have trouble cleaning it up and I will want to start over again. I hope it won't happen. We can play the hit GBG indie game Access of Fear for the PS1. Well, I could play some games, right? Technically, I do have a gaming console. I'm actually gonna check out the DM you sent me, Chalupa, with the shell puppy. Cause I really want to see that. What's that? Oh, is it a collar made of something? I have no idea. Poor dog. It looks really sad, or concerned. Yeah, I'm really not sure, like, what progress I can make with this. I guess I could just wrap up now for today. I'm gonna add a bit of a version number, or I guess could say snapshot. So it is May 4th, so, and because I'm a dirty European, I'm gonna write it the proper way, which is day, month, and year. And 22. So that's my, well, yeah, that's gonna be the snapshots, kind of like Minecraft. I think that's a good way to teleport different builds. And yeah, let's just shoot some ducks. I'm a pro. Like, I'm too fast. Oh. Man, I'm a really good hunter. Like, these UFOs are no match for my my reflexes, my aiming, my unparalleled hand-to-eye coordination. Yeah, it's already pretty fun. Like, I can't wait to add the actual, like, round logic. We'll try to add some difficulty, so making the birds fly faster, making it so that they can actually fly away faster as well. I'll also look into adding the different types of birds, because in case you didn't know, in Duck Hunt there are 3 colors of ducks, and it changes how long they fly, as well as how many points they get. So points is also something I will have to add. Either way, super happy, super stoked with all the progress we've made. Again, a lot of repeats from Monday, but that's fine. I think it was for the best. I'm very thankful that you've all joined me today. Hope you had fun. Hope it was not too boring to watch. And I genuinely can't wait to stream again maybe later this week, although the end of the week is going to be a bit busy for me, so might not happen. Maybe Sunday, we'll see how my schedule is looking. Hope you have a good day, and I'll be seeing you another time. Maybe at a player mode with player 2 moves the Goose. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. Lots of things to think about, lots of stuff to look into. I'll take some time to kind of gather my thoughts and maybe do some kind of to-do list. Well, glad you enjoyed the stream, Chupa. I'll see you all later on the Video Dojo Discord as always, and have a good one. Bye!